This video is pretty much just me talking about what's going on in my own little circle of classes. If that doesn't interest you, you can click out now. But if you're nosy like me and you figure you can just learn from whatever's going on because you might use it, which is true, then you can stick around. Okay, two things I guess you could say administratively. Number one, I've mapped out all the requirements for Cecil Ryu Taekwondo up through 10th degree black belt. And I did not put myself at 10th degree because I feel like there's a difference between what your concept is and your technical proficiency. So I know a lot of times people say that if you create a style, you're 10th degree. And I understand that, but I still don't feel like my proficiency and technical ability, and I include teaching ability in that, is quite there yet, even though I've got a clearly defined parameter that I really want to work in. So that's what I'm doing. Hey, it's my style. I can do what I want. But anyway, I have age requirements, excuse me, on the ranks, and those age requirements are most likely not going to move. I don't even know if at this point I'm ever going to promote anybody under 13 to first degree black belt, because while I know it's possible, and I know it can be there, and I've seen people with the ability. But, I can't promote you if you don't practice. I can't promote you if you don't come to class. So, be that as it may. And number two, I've also added in a rank at the lower levels. I've been thinking about doing this for a while, and I finally see the need. I've seen other schools do it. But I said, oh, I'll never do that. But no, there's a reason. So now there are going to be 3 levels of white belt. Right now, you have the white belts you start at when you walk in the door, and then you get a stripe on that before you go to yellow belt. But I've decided to change it because I do see there are distinct differences between straight up white belts who know what they're doing a little bit, white belts who can start hanging with the other people. So now there are going to be 3 levels of white belt. You're going to have white belt that you do when you come in the door. You're going to have 1 stripe on the white belt, and you're going to have 2 stripes on the white belt. So that way I'm going to slow down the goal of progression so I can make sure people really have stuff down. Another practice that I'm going to stop doing is I'm going to stop skip promotions. I've skipped people because, quite frankly, I felt like they deserved it, and they demonstrated it, that they could do it, but I'm just not going to do it anymore, especially with the schedule that most people who come to me have. And for what I see this style as, in terms of this style is geared towards people who are not trying to be professional fighters, but need to be able to handle professional fools, is the best way to look at it. So, and that takes a lot of time. There's no way around it. It takes a lot of time. I think the only thing I can do, because sometimes I like to skip people because I want to give credit to them for others' experience that they have. There's a couple of people I can tell looking at them they've had previous training, and they don't necessarily need to go all the way back to step 1. But this is the problem with people, and I'm guilty of this myself, because when I switch schools so many times. A lot of times when people are switching schools and they go from one style to the other, and you can see that there's some stuff carry over, when they come on the forms land, they don't want to practice their forms until the instructor really starts getting on their case about it. And until they see, oh my gosh, it's learn the forms or I'm just not going to get promoted up. So what I could do is I could shorten time and grade. That's it. I could shorten time and grade. I've also wanted to just bring black belts right in. And 9 times out of 10, I can bring black belts right in. But I noticed, and I'm not going to say the name of the style, but there's a particular style that when people have tried to come over, they've had black belts. I'm shocked that they have not been able to just either modify their forms or just learn their forms, and they could come in right in at black belt. So if I brought you in at black belt from wherever you were before, you know I'm not talking about you. Or if I let you come over at brown belt, you know I'm not talking about you. So don't say he's talking about me. If I brought you in just straight up at the rank that you were, you know I'm not talking about you. I mean, there was one guy, he said I never really did forward rolls before. We did them a little bit. I showed him how to do a proper forward roll once. Swear to God, he did it perfectly. And then, without me going over it, he said, oh, this is how you come to your feet. Bam, done. That's what I'm talking about. You can come over. All he had to do was just learn new forms. But work got in the way. I want to pause it right there. Okay, I'm back. And that's going to segue into a rant, I guess you could say, / advertisement. And my thing is this. If you know that cost and time are issues and you are an adult who has adult responsibilities but you still want to do the martial arts, why don't you just sign up with me? Just sign up with me. What are you waiting on? It's gonna be few people who cost less. The only people that cost less are people that are doing it for free. It's going to be few people who are going to be strict about your attendance. I mean, not as strict about your attendance. I'm not strict, but I'm saying this wrong. I am not strict about your attendance. If you tell me you got to go to work, you got to go to school, this happened, that happened, I'm cool with that. I know a lot of times you guys who've been in storefront schools, you think, oh, these people are just harassing me about attendance. No, this is why they want you to come more than once a week. Because most people are not self-motivated and they're not going to practice. They're not. If you are in front of the instructor knows that you're going through the moves more than just their last lesson that they gave you. So that means you are practicing. You're practicing during class. And they know that you're going through the moves and you're going to progress. So you progress slower when you don't come because you won't practice in class. Now, I will say this. If you're learning something that has to do with grappling, especially in the beginning, you need to be there a lot just to practice with someone. But after a while, even with that, you got to do your drills, whatever drills they give you. Like with judo, you can practice some pinning sequences on the ground by yourself. You can practice your fitting on your own. There are a lot of fit exercises you can do on your own. Definitely your break falls you should be practicing on your own. And those of you who do Cecil Ryu Taekwondo, you should be practicing break falls and forward rolls on your own. Even if you can only just do one bat, forward roll. That's better than nothing. I know you may not be able to have a mat at home, but if you got an area in your basement or something that's quasi-padded, or there's a lawn that you could just fall on that's not disgusting or have a bunch of ticks and fleas and stuff in it, do a forward roll, fall, slap left, slap right, fall to the front. That's going to help you judo a lot. Do the fits against the wall. And definitely for Taekwondo, that's what the forms are for. You got your fancy kicks that you can practice on your own. You need to practice those on your own. Practice your punches and kicks. If you don't have a punching bag, practice on the air. And practice your forms, your solo exercises. Forms are supposed to be solo exercises that you do on your own to get your body moving in different ways. So what's the excuse? And especially if you're coming to me at the community center, odds are you are not trying to be a professional fighter. You know you're not trying to be a professional fighter. But you may have to deal with professional fools. But you're not trying to be a professional fighter. So what's holding you back? What's holding you back? Too good to be true? Can't believe it? That type of thing? Is that what it is? I don't know. So, I meet your needs. Just come on in. So anyway, that's all I got right now. So, like I said, I finally outlined all the requirements for first to 10th degree black belt. Added in now, it's going to be 3 levels of white belt. So everything is pretty much going to be standardized now, but that doesn't mean I want people to be clones. It just means I have clear-cut parameters right now. And will things change in the future? Yeah, things probably will change in the future, but not much. I would say if there's anything that would change, it would be me either declaring formal weapons. Right now, the only weapons I would probably declare would be like a knife. I'd say knife, staff, stick, sword, baseball bat, and gun. Even with gun, I can't teach you gun at the community center. I can do gun disarms, but I can't teach you how to shoot at the community center. So you can do that on your own. I recommend you do that on your own, in fact. And if you can get a concealed carry permit, I think you should do that too. Even though, like I've said, I don't think the society wants us to be armed, but that's another video. So that would be about it. Because I guess taking a page from the Freddie Lee handbook, I want to concern people with attacks that they are most likely to encounter. Knives are common because a lot of people are carrying those. Next is some type of a stick or staff. A little more rare are swords, but you got people walking around with machetes sometimes. You got machetes and definitely a gun. So I might even throw axe in there. Just an axe or shovel. I haven't heard of too many shovel attacks. But anything that you could go down to Home Depot and get and use on somebody, I think that's stuff that's really worth learning how to defend against. Now, this is not a slight against traditional weapons either. But people don't walk around with, what are those things called? I forget what they're called. Because they go over the forearm and they got the prong on the end. I can't remember what they're called. People don't walk around with those. But if I find that a traditional weapon principle carries over to one of these common modern weapons that can be used against someone, I would just study the traditional weapon first, then get the modern one, and just reconfigure whatever I've learned for the modern day weapon thing. So that's what I got going on in my own personal circle right now in terms of martial arts. So everything's laid out. And if you're curious about it, go over to the website, check out the ranks. Especially current students, go over to the website, check out the ranks. So there shouldn't be any doubt as to what you need to learn or how old you need to be for what, because it's spelled out there. Peace.